Found out my best friend has been secretly dating my ex-girlfriend for months. What hurts the most is that I had no idea, and when I confronted him, he acted like it was no big deal. What to do now? Hey Reddit. A few months ago, I went through a brutal breakup with my girlfriend of 3 years. We'd been through so much together, from college days to navigating early adulthood, and I genuinely thought we had something special. But over time, things got complicated. We started arguing more, felt disconnected, and ultimately, we both agreed to call it quits. It hurt, but I tried to tell myself it was for the best. Thankfully, I had my best friend, Jake, to lean on. Jake and I have been friends since high school, and he's always been there for me through every up and down. After the breakup, he was a huge support. He'd listen to me vent, encourage me to focus on myself, and reassure me that I'd eventually find someone who was truly right for me. Having him around made everything easier, and I felt like I was slowly getting over it. Recently, though, Jake started acting distant. He'd cancel plans last minute, ignore texts for hours, or make up vague excuses about why he couldn't hang out. I tried to brush it off, thinking he was just busy with work or something, but deep down, I felt like something was off. Then, one night, I was scrolling through social media and saw a photo that stopped me cold. It was Jake and my ex at a bar, looking way too close for comfort. They were smiling, leaning in toward each other, and just happy. At first, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe they'd run into each other, or maybe she'd asked him for advice about moving on. But I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to it. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing more signs. Jake was even more distant than usual, and I'd see the occasional post or story featuring the two of them out together. I felt like I was going crazy, but I didn't have concrete proof. I decided to confront him directly. I asked him if he'd been hanging out with her and if there was something going on. To my shock, he admitted it right away. He told me he'd been seeing my ex for a couple of months and didn't think it was a big deal. He said that since she and I were done, he assumed I'd be mature enough to accept it. His tone was so casual, like he was telling me he'd bought a new car or switched jobs. He even mentioned that he was planning to tell me eventually but wanted to make sure things would work out between them first. I was stunned. I couldn't believe he'd been hiding this from me and acting like it was no big deal. I told him how hurt and blindsided I felt, but he brushed off my feelings, insisting that I was overreacting. According to him, I should be happy for them and not let it affect our friendship. He even said, "If you're really my friend, you just get over it." Now, I'm stuck. Part of me feels like I should cut him out of my life completely, but another part wonders if I'm being unreasonable. I keep questioning myself, wondering if I'm blowing things out of proportion. Am I justified in feeling betrayed, or am I just letting my emotions get the best of me? I don't know what to do. Update. Thank you to everyone who commented and offered advice. It was incredibly helpful to see that most of you understood why I felt so hurt and validated my feelings. After reading through everything, I decided I needed to try talking to Jake one more time to lay everything on the table. I wanted him to truly understand why this hurts so much, beyond just dating my ex. When we met up, I told him everything I'd been holding in. I explained that it wasn't just about dating her, it was about the fact that he hid it from me, downplayed my feelings, and acted like I was the one in the wrong for feeling hurt. I explained how he knew how hard the breakup had been on me and how much I'd trusted him to be on my side. To have him turn around and start dating her, and then lie by omission for months, felt like a massive betrayal. Jake's response was disappointing, to say the least. He seemed to listen, but he was stone-faced and didn't show any hint of regret. He repeated that he didn't think it was a big deal and kept insisting that I needed to be mature and support him if I valued our friendship. He claimed that he and my ex had genuinely connected and hoped I'd be happy for him. I felt like I was talking to a stranger. The person I thought was my best friend was so dismissive and cold, and it made me realize that maybe I'd been blind to some red flags. This was the same guy who'd occasionally joke about stealing my girl or make light of my relationship issues, and I'd always laughed it off. Now, those memories felt different, like hints I'd missed along the way. After that conversation, I felt more resolved. I knew that if Jake couldn't respect my feelings or even acknowledge the pain he'd caused, our friendship couldn't survive. I decided to take some space and think about what I wanted from this relationship moving forward. Another update. A few weeks after our talk, I decided to distance myself from Jake for good. I didn't tell him outright that I was ending our friendship, but I stopped reaching out, ignored his messages, and declined any plans he tried to make. Surprisingly, he didn't seem to care or make any real effort to reconnect. Instead, Jake kept living his life as if nothing had happened. He and my ex continued posting about each other on social media, sharing photos and stories that made it clear they were happily together. It was painful to see at first, but over time, it actually made things easier. Seeing how little our friendship meant to him gave me the closure I needed to move on. I started leaning on other friends and focusing on things I'd neglected while dealing with the breakup and all this drama. I got back into some old hobbies, hit the gym more, and even reconnected with family. For the first time in months, I felt like I was focusing on myself and healing from all the chaos Jake had thrown at me. One of my friends even commented on how much happier and lighter I seemed, and that's when it hit me. Letting go of this toxic friendship was the best decision I could have made. Final update. It's been a few months since everything went down, and I'm in a much better place now. Jake and I haven't spoken since, and to be honest, I haven't missed him at all. A mutual friend recently mentioned that Jake was hurt by how distant I'd been and didn't understand why I'd ended things. He apparently told this friend he felt blindsided by my decision to walk away, as if he'd been the one wronged in all of this. Hearing that honestly made me laugh. After everything that happened, Jake still saw himself as the victim. My friend asked if I'd consider meeting with him one last time to clear the air, but I declined. I explained that there was no point. A friendship without trust or respect isn't worth holding on to, and I'd rather move forward than keep getting dragged back into the past. This whole experience taught me so much about loyalty, boundaries, and what I deserve in friendships. In hindsight, there were red flags with Jake that I'd ignored, like the way he always made light of my feelings or joked about dating my girlfriend. I thought those comments were harmless at the time, but now, I see them for what they were. I'm grateful to everyone who supported me and gave me the courage to walk away from a friendship that was no longer healthy. I may have lost a friend, but I gained so much more: clarity, self-respect, and a stronger sense of what I want from the people I let into my life. Life's too short to surround yourself with people who don't genuinely care about you, and moving forward, I'll be more careful about who I trust. Thanks for being there, Reddit. This community helped me through one of the hardest moments in my life, and I'm grateful for all the support. Here's to new beginnings and finding people who truly value and respect me.